Welcome to the Real News Extra. My name is Fred. I'm the Operations Manager at RELAW APC. And joining me today is the Principal and Founder of RELAW APC, Jennifer Felten. Hi, Jennifer. Let's talk about one of the lesser well-known practice areas here at RELAW APC, and that is interpleaders. Start with the basics. What is an interpleader?
Right. So it's not a common vernacular
No, it's
term. Though many of us in escrow in our profession know exactly what an interpleader is because it comes up. So interpleaders are not limited to escrow, but they occur more frequently in an escrow situation because escrow people hold money.
Okay.
And an interpleader is a lawsuit relative to disputed funds. So in California, we have a law that says if you are a neutral third party holding money for people who are making adverse claims, so we have to have at least two people claiming that money. For example, a deposit for a purchase contract. The buyer and seller are each claiming the money. The deal falls through, right? So you have two competing claims.
Okay.
It shouldn't be the escrow company deciding who gets the money, right? So a court process where the money is deposited and then the court analyzes and decides what happens is an interpleader.
So how are interpleaders used in escrow fund disputes?
Right. So because escrow holders are neutral third parties, if money gets left in an escrow account because of these competing claims, they're the ones who have to manage it, right? Those funds, if they don't manage it, at some point that money is going to actually get escheated, which is another technical term. But if you're holding money that belongs to someone else, you don't get to keep it if you can't get it to that third person. It's called unclaimed funds in California. So there's actually a website you can go to see if you have unclaimed funds, which most people do, by the way. But so an escrow company would have to give that money to the government if it was sitting in their account for more than 3 years. So instead of the government getting the money, if we have a disputed funds, we want the consumers, the people who are entitled to it, to get it. But again, escrow shouldn't be deciding who, so the court gets the money and the court decides. And one of the unique features, because in the United States, most cases, if you sue, everybody pays their own attorney fees.
Yep.
Absent a contract or a statute, we're a pay your own way country.
Right.
That's not the case in Europe and in other places, but here you pay your own bills. But interpleader statute actually allows for the escrow company to get paid for their legal fees out of the funds being interpled.
Got it.
Because they're a neutral third party, they didn't create this situation.
Right.
The court will allow them to get their fees out of the money that is in dispute.
What are some of the other or additional benefits to escrow companies and other stakeholders that interpleaders bring?
Right. So ultimately, we want as much of the money as possible to get to the rightful owner. And an interpleader, slowly, our legal system doesn't move quickly.
Yes.
And it's not cheap. It takes time and money. But ultimately, the money's going to get where it needs to go. And for the escrow company, one, they're cleaning out their trust accounts. They're doing their duty, fiduciary duty, to get the money to the right place. They also, part of the interpleader is them getting a release of liability. So the escrow company doesn't want to have liability relative to these funds that they're handing over to the court. So it creates an environment to cleanly and ultimately clearly get those funds resolved.
Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the Real News Extra. If you're enjoying this content, I invite you to click on like or subscribe and to click that little bell for future notifications. My name is Fred, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.